Hello, my name is Curley. I work with the Stroud Water Research Center. I'm a project coordinator in the watershed restoration department, and this is just going to be a brief introductory video on how to best plant a small containerized seedling. We're here in the Arboretum on Stroud's campus. What we have here, again, small persimmon. You always want to check out the light and soil preferences of these trees. This prefers full to partial sun and moist to well-drained soil. Again, this is a small containerized seedling. If you do have specimens that are in larger 1, 2, 3, 5-gallon containers or in burlap ball, this will change slightly in terms of how you get the tree in the ground, but relatively simple here with just this small container seedling. What we're going to need is a mallet, a 5-foot pressure-treated oak stake, a plastic tree shelter here, and a bird net up top. And again, we just have a normal shovel here for this small container seedling. So a couple things before we even start digging the hole. You always want to make sure that you never get too deep here on the hole. You want to get it right up next to the root collar of the tree. Too far above or too far below when it's planted can potentially kill whatever you're planting. So that's just something to keep in mind here. Have about a 5-6 inch hole to dig. And so we'll do that right here. Typically what we do to treat these areas before planting is mow, as well as apply herbicide spray rings at each site where a tree is going to go in. So again, all right, should be deep enough. What we're going to do before we put the tree in the ground, we're going to pick a side to lay the tree up into. So with this stake, this should go on the prevailing wind side. It's coming in from the western end. So we're going to put the tree on this side, put the stake on this far end, and that'll help support it during some high wind events. If you are planting into a riparian area with a lot of flood prone potential, then you'll want to plant your stake on the upstream side to prevent any washout for high events here. So what I like to do is just push from the back here. That's going to slip out the roots without causing too much breakage. You want to be very gentle. And again, I'm going to try to situate this so the root collar isn't too deep. Get a little support under there. Break out all the clumps here. Try to condense it the best that you can. What I like to do, just support the tree there and then just give it a little press around the base. That'll get some of those air pockets out, condense the soil, make the tree a little bit happier. Next we have to do is I like to slip the shelter over top of the tree. So again, you want to be very careful that the stems does not hit any of these here. As we tighten these, it can choke off the leader or potential branches and damage the tree. So again, very gently, make sure it doesn't get caught in any of these. You want to best try to center the tree in the middle of the shelter, and then the stake, you want to just slip it right through these two. Again, on the prevailing side here. And then here we go. I like to leave about 2 to 3 inches here. As the winds come in, frost heave, this will lift up. If it's too high, it'll slip off, and that it could potentially injure the tree. So about 3 inches for a 5-foot stake. So that's about 2 feet in the ground there. We'll want to tighten these up. And then I like to try to nestle about 1/2 inch deep into the soil. What that does, creates a seal between the shelter and the ground that helps prevent rodents like mice from entering the shelter and looking for their next meal. Last step here, pull down the bird net until it creates about a silver dollar 1 inch by 1 inch sort of circumference hole here. That'll allow the tree to grow up without getting tangled. As this goes through seasons, what we need to do is follow up on routine maintenance, replacing the shelter and potentially the stake, warp, and seasonal events will eventually degrade this wood, and as well as the tubes. Sometimes the shelters get kinked, might need to replace them. These stakes usually last for about a year and a half, 2 seasons before they do need to get replaced. Something to keep in mind for those riparian applications with a lot of flooding, a wood stake might not be strong enough, so we have been using some fiberglass stakes in some of those more flood-prone applications. And again, as these goes through the growing season, invasive trees, plants, vines, they're going to try to compete with this. So we want to try to keep this clear, pull any vines off, possibly treat with a second round of herbicide spray or pre-emergent herbicide, and just keep an eye on it throughout the year. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day.